recommended to the court unanimously that that exception be eliminated. I'm pleased that, extraordinarily pleased that the CJA supported us in that effort. I know both Judge Glussman and Judge Weber worked very hard in talking to members and explaining the rationale for what we were doing. And then in this January, the Supreme Court unanimously voted to eliminate the exception. It's effective in a year to give people a chance to adjust their affairs and decide what they want to do. So basically, this is the big overview. It's a pretty active committee. It's a wonderful committee to serve on. I just conclude by saying we are what our name is. We advise the Supreme Court. One of the reasons we don't have everybody has a website they're going to talk about. We don't have a website because we're kind of Neanderthal maybe, but basically our job is to advise the Supreme Court and then to solicit public comment and then to advise the Supreme Court on what the public comment is and our analysis of it. And we talked to a lot of people. Most recently, as I talked to Judge Moore about it, briefly the CJA sent us a letter about a week or two ago asking us to modify the rule on gifts. The CGO had an opinion on it. I hate to say this, Doug, they're not big fans of your opinion. But anyway. At least
they knew who to blame.
They wrote a letter to us. So anyway, so we have that under consideration. We'll decide how to deal with it. But the point is, I think that judges are rich in their ideas, and they're thankfully very free to express their ideas to us, and the Supreme Court takes all these ideas very seriously. I've been not to suck up too much because I don't see anybody here from the Supreme Court, but they've really been very attentive, especially the Chief Justice, who's really paid very close attention to what we've been doing and gives us a lot of encouragement and support and analysis to help us along our way. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm going to go next and talk about CJEO, the Committee on Judicial Ethics Opinions. We are a committee that, much like Justice Feibles, is authorized and appointed by the Supreme Court under their constitutional authority that's delegated to them by the state constitution to oversee judges and judicial candidates. What's interesting is that even though we may be authorized and appointed by the California Supreme Court, we are also independent of them. We're not part of the Judicial Council. We're not part of the CJP. We're not part of CJA. We're a committee of the Supreme Court, but they don't oversee the writing of our opinion. So where Justice Feibles' committee proposes an amendment to the code, it goes to the Supreme Court and they vote on whether to adopt it. They don't vote on our opinions. They don't see our opinions. They're as surprised by them as all of you are when we publish them. But they don't have to rely on them. If an issue comes before the Supreme Court that deals with one of our opinions, they're free to interpret it. They're free to not follow it or to follow it. So we are truly independent, and I can certify they don't call us, they don't know the issues we're talking about, and they don't see the opinions before they go out, and we don't ask for their permission to publish them. So really what we do is we provide written guidance, and we provide it in three separate ways. We have formal opinions that are published. We write them, we research them. We also have a very large staff of one attorney who assists us in that. But we divide up into committees within our group. We have 12 members who are made up of judges, commissioners, and justices, and we divide into separate committees once we receive a topic and assign that to them, and they write it and then provide it to the entire committee to wordsmith it. And what I want to talk about, though, is the three ways that we work. Through formal written opinions that you have all seen. We have informal opinions that we write. That's where a requester asks us to write a particular guidance on a particular ethical issue and provide that information directly to them. So you don't see our informal opinions. They are written. They're provided to the judge or the judicial candidate who requests those. We publish summaries on our webpage so that you can see those. And we also give oral advice. But, and it's a big distinction, We are not set up like the CJA to give oral advice, and our rules specify that oral advice should be done by the CJA. And so we refer everyone who calls requesting oral advice to CJA. Our rules also indicate that if for whatever reason that person does not want to go to CJA, then we will provide oral advice. But the warning is if you call in the afternoon and need an answer by the evening, we're not equipped to do that. We may take weeks, we may take months, because we have committees, we have a committee structure, and we set it through that committee structure. So the advantage is to call CJA, who reviews those, can do those quickly, and does those excellently. In fact, we collaborate together. One of the things we do with CJA is we look at the IRs that they prepare, that they provide to us in a way so we can't tell who the person is that they gave advice to. And we do that so that we can see what trends there are as to whether or not there's a particular trend ongoing in the advice that's being asked, so that we can consider whether we should write an opinion. We also do something unique for our committee that's not done by any other committee like us in the United States, and that is we send out a draft opinion first. So if we've been asked to write a formal opinion, one that we will publish and that will go out to the public, we first write it in draft and we send it out for public comment. Nobody else does that. And we had a big discussion about whether that was appropriate to do. But we felt we're not an investigatory body, so we're not out investigating this. Nobody comes before us like your courts or my court, where you have 2 sides or 3 sides and they're arguing it and they're giving you different information. So we felt it was important because we felt these opinions are significant and impact a significant number of people in our profession and in the public, that we wanted to get input. So we send them out. We get public input, and I can tell you, and if any of the other committee members are here, they would tell you also that it is very informative. And I think you can see from some of our opinions that it has helped frame them, and there has been changes in them based on the public comments that we get. We publish those public comments if the individual or entity who made those waives confidentiality. We post them on our webpage so that you can see who made those and what it was that was said, because we felt that was important for transparency purposes. We hope that our opinions, the ones that are formal and written and published, provide you a background on the law, a background on the canons, and provide you with an analytical framework for you to review it and to make a determination how that would impact you and whatever guidance it provides. Some of them you'll see involve a very broad topic, and others are very specific and deal with a very specific event that provides you guidance, whether it's election or gifts or something of that nature. We receive requests from judges and judicial candidates. So if a judge or a judicial candidate calls us, we make a determination and prioritize it as to where it would fit within our plan, as to how soon we can get to it, or whether it's a legal issue which doesn't involve judicial ethics and is an issue that we don't feel is appropriate for us to write an opinion on. We also don't take requests if there's a pending lawsuit involving that individual in that case, or if they're already at the CJP. Our rules specify that we don't take those cases. We also take suggested topics from anybody else. So the public, we've had some from CJP, we've had some from CJA. And those, again, are topics that we then can consider as to whether we want to follow those requests and publish something on those. We have strict confidentiality rules. So much like CJA, when someone calls, the committee members don't know who that person is. That is screened from them. Now, there's some times on the committee where it's clear where that might be from, just because of knowledge that you may have. And so we have a recusal policy where I've had on 1 or 2 occasions to have to recuse myself from a case. So I'm not in the public, I'm not in the meetings when we meet together, or I'm not on the telephone when we may discuss that. So we follow those strictly to make sure that the committee members don't know who it is that may have made the request. And I think that's just kind of self-evident, that we want to make sure that the decisions we make are based on the issues and the research and not in any way influenced by the personality or what someone may know. We do have a website. It's a very good website. It lists our rules. It has all of our published opinions on it. It has summaries of all of our informal opinions and all of our oral advice. And I just wanted to give you the numbers. So since we've been in existence, we have issued 7 formal opinions, 4 informal opinions. And again, the informal opinion summary would be on the webpage. And we've had 9 where we give oral advice. That's, if you think about that, they must do 9 a day. And so again, it shows that when people call and ask for oral advice, that the place you should go to is CJA. And again, if there's some conflict and you can't, we'll certainly entertain it, but we don't have the capability of getting a turnaround quickly on that issue. So if I summarized in one sentence what we do and how we're different from everyone else, it's that we issue written opinions. We do formal published opinions, and we have the process that I explained, and we have informal opinions that go to someone who has requested that and doesn't want it to be published and wants that information provided to them, and we give oral advice. What we do on the oral advice too is much like our written opinions, whether formal or informal, we read something to them. It's not a discussion, it's read to them, and then we provide that to them so that they have that information. So, Judge Moore?
Okay, thanks. All right, well, I'm the chair of the one group up here that is not a government organization. We're kind of an NGO because we're part of the CJA. So we're, if you want to say, an independent trade organization of the judges. Let me ask, by a show of hands, raise your hands if you have called the hotline or called one of us for an IR, ever in your life. Okay, I should have gone the other way. Has anybody never done that? Okay. There you go. There you go. Okay. We get a lot, obviously, we get a lot of requests. Last year, we had over 400 IRs that we issued. This year at the last meeting, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, because we do have members here. I think we're at now number 236, and we have 3 more meetings to go. We meet every second month, so we'll have a meeting in June, August, and then at the annual. So we're easily going to break 400 this year if the present trends continue. We do have at least 3 members here. There's Laura Hallgren, there's Leonard Edwards, there's Barbara Cronland. If I missed anybody else, okay. Oh, Rob Glessman's here. He's on the committee as well. So if any of you want to chime in, please do. You know the procedure. We do, and just for a very quick review, we've got the hotline. You can call that. You'll be given 3 judges. What we ask you not to do is shop. In other words, call Judge A, who says no, so you call Judge B, and she says yes. We know that if it happens, we will probably, the vice chair who reviews the IRs, will probably see this and then call each person who wrote the opinion, and at that point, confidentiality can be breached because you can ask the person, okay, Laura, who is your inquiring judge? Leonard, who is your inquiring judge? And if it's the same judge, we know what happened. So please don't do that. Take the first person, and it will go to the committee. We will discuss it. The one thing you have to remember is that when you call the judge, that judge will call you back after having written the IR and after having conferred with the vice chair, who this year is Mary Fuller. And Mary will either approve it or not approve it. If she approves it, then it's easy. The judge will call you back and say, this is what we tentatively have done, but it's still not final until it goes to the next meeting. If the vice chair doesn't approve it, then Mary and the inquiring judge will dialogue about it. They'll either come to a consensus or they won't. If they don't, the vice chair will probably write a comment at the bottom of the IR which says, I disagree for the following reasons. Okay, that almost guarantees a call-up when we debate the matter. So the first thing you have to remember is this is not official advice until we meet, and then we can tell you it's official. Until then, it's just a judge talking to you. So you've got to be aware of that. If it's an easy IR, and we get, for example, can I write a letter of recommendation for my friend who's looking for to be appointed to a judgeship, and I've known my friend for many years? That's easy. The answer is yes. That one you can probably take to the bank. But if it's a difficult IR, if it's a question, be careful. Now, if it's really difficult and there's a real time crunch, we can run an email vote. The feeling on the board, in the committee I should say, is we don't like to do it, but if there's a reason to do it, we will. As I said, if it's close, if there's a real time crunch or something like that. As far as who there's complete confidentiality, as Justice Miller said. It's the same with him, it's the same with us. We do not reveal the names, and the members of the committee do not know who was the inquiring judge, not even the vice chair, unless, of course, there was an attempt to shop. So if you want to disclose, if you want to breach confidentiality and say, look, I got an IR from the ethics committee, that's fine, you can do it, and then there's no reason to keep it confidential. But we will not reveal your name, and we also will not give you the IR unless it's your own IR. So, in other words, if you want to say to us, I'd like to see IRs regarding, I don't know what, disclosure and disqualification, you won't get them. What you will get each year is a judicial ethics update where we summarize some of the more important and significant IRs. But again, we boil them down so it's not obvious or even clear who the judge would be. People call us for a number of reasons, including not only to get the right answer, or what we hope is the right answer. Some people use it for cover. I'll give you an example from myself. When I was, my stepdad, may he rest in peace, was very, very active in a particular charity. And I helped him, I raised money. I get on the bench, I can't raise money anymore. He couldn't understand that. He kept saying, oh, come on, you can do it, I'm not gonna tell anybody. So I called the ethics committee, I called the hotline, and I said, can I raise money for this charity and send out letters and all that? And of course, the reply came rocketing back, no, you cannot. At which point I showed my stepdad the IR. And that was the end of that. I never got any more requests from him. So people ask for IRs for lots of different reasons. And I obviously disclosed the IR to my stepdad, and that ended the confidentiality. We do not have an attorney on our staff. We do it all ourselves. We do have the CJA staff to help us in terms of renting the room, paying for the meal, the lunch we get, that sort of thing. But we do it all ourselves. There's no